Welcome to the Brave Little Podcast. Here to talk one of the all-time great working directors, David Fincher. Joining me from Los Angeles, Aaron Alvarado of the Los Angeles Dodgers.
That's correct.
Dude.
The World Series invitees.
Invitees, I was
Yeah.
gonna say, are you just gonna call it right now and call them champions? Because that was gonna be pretty brazen.
It's a little preemptive, but I think that I feel safe in giving them early congratulations for winning the 2017 World Series.
Well, they got the pennant at least.
They did first pennant since 1988, so it's been a while. They're long past due. Yeah.
So, that's 88 is when last time you won the pennant.
Yeah. Last pennant, last World Series. We've been in a bit of a drought since then.
Then a year later, my team won their last World Series, Oakland
Right.
A's.
That was the Earthquake World Series.
That was the Earthquake game, yeah. The Bay Bridge Series.
Yeah.
Do you like your chances better against Houston than the Yanks?
I mean, so the Yankees Dodgers have a long history together. They've played in the World Series several times. That being said, I actually wanted to face the Astros because I think they're the better team, and I think that playing the Astros and beating them, which is what they're going to do, will prove to the entire baseball world that Los Angeles is home to the greatest baseball team this year. So, no doubts.
Wow.
Give me the harder team. It doesn't matter. We're going to beat them anyway. So, bring it on, I say.
So you told me you have a goal of making it to at least one of these games.
Yeah, cross your fingers for me. Ticket prices are insane right now.
Of course.
Before the Astros won, ticket prices for Game 1 were in the $1,000.
That was
deck.
like the basement level.
Yeah, well, for the absolute worst seats in the stadium, $1,000. I checked today before we got on, and they're down around $780 or so. So it's still
$780.
Yeah, it's still up there.
Oh my goodness.
But I mean, could you imagine spending $1,500 and you're sitting in the last row in the stadium? I mean,
Do they have like standing room only?
apparently
seats?
they are going to do standing room only. I don't know where that's going to be, just because the
Still
layout.
gonna be over $500.
Oh yeah, easily. The layout for Dodger Stadium, there you can stand, but it'll be probably over the bullpen area, which is not a good view at all. So yeah, I wouldn't pay $500 to stand for the entire game. But that's just me. What do I know?
So are you going you and the missus?
Yeah, so we're shooting for Game 1. That's ideally we'd like to go to Game 1. If we can't get tickets for Game 1, we're definitely going to do Game 6 because I think this is going to be a long series, and I have a feeling that we're going to clinch it in Game 6. So I'm kind of hedging my bets by selecting that one.
How is the 7-game format? Is it 2-2?
It's 2-3-2.
2-3-2.
Yeah.
So why not? So if they lose the first game, because wait, do they have home field?
They do. They certainly do.
But if they lose the first game, I guess logic, maybe my bad logic is telling me the second game ticket prices wouldn't be quite as high. I feel like the first game is going to be the most.
First game will be the highest. Well, from my experience,
Except for Game 7.
Yeah, exactly. So in 2014, when the LA Kings made it to the Stanley Cup final, they lost 2 games in the series, and after their second loss, ticket prices just plummeted. Like they lost 50% of the asking price, and we ended up clinching in Game 6 at home. So all those people missed out.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So this is what I'm thinking is going to happen again. The Dodgers are going to lose a couple games, and people are going to get the scalpers.
But you still want Game 1 tickets?
Yeah, Game 1
Pay
would
the
be
premium?
Yeah, Game 1 would be great because Kershaw starting, and it's the first World Series game since '88, all that stuff. So yeah, I mean it's exciting. The entire city is talking about the Dodgers, which is really cool to see. I mean, my office, there's 200 people in there, and they're like half of them are now Dodger fans, which is pretty funny to see. But it's cool, man. I don't mind the bandwagon jumping at all. Bring it on.
No, and especially in the city itself, that's the place where like everyone, that's okay. That should be okay.
Yes, totally.
It's the bandwagon, all of a sudden all the Dodger fans elsewhere. That's not okay.
Yeah, exactly. And then plus the Dodgers have had the highest attendance for like 11 out of the last 15 years or something.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so every year we get about 3.5 million people that go to the Dodger Stadium. So,
You're certain it's not the A's?
no, it's we were neck and neck with the A's. So yeah, it's right up
Gosh,
there.
dang.
Well, actually, the A's are neck and neck with the River Cats, aren't they?
Oh my goodness. Look, it ain't no joke though. The River Cats games sell out. I
They
mean,
do. That's actually a really cool little stadium. I do like the River Cats Stadium.
no, they created a really cool environment. It is so cool, in fact, that they outgrew the A's for being the AAA team and got taken over by the Giants. That was like the biggest slap in the face as an A's fan personally.
Right.
And I don't mind the Giants, but like, you know, it was awesome being able to get the prospects from the River Cats because they were always competitive in AAA ball. And then, yeah, they got so good that they weren't, you know, a little too good for the A's when they realized that they might be a better baseball team.
Right. And the A's teams, the famous Billy Bean, Moneyball A's teams, a lot of those guys came up through Sacramento, right?
Yeah, they sure did. I watched a lot of them.
Yep.
And and they'd send it back to Sacramento pretty regularly, you know, when they're rehabbing.
Right.
I mean, a lot of good players. Tejada, you know, Eastringhausen,
Chavez, all those guys.
yeah, Johnny Damon, who later became a traitor to both us and the Red Sox.
What about Hatterberg? Was Hatterberg there?
You mean Chris Pratt?
Chris Pratt, exactly.
Yeah. I don't remember Hatterberg ever in Sacramento, but yeah, no, people in Sacramento love baseball. Too bad they can never have a major league team. But I mean, you need a bigger population center. It's too many games in a season.
Yeah, it is. But you guys you have basketball. I mean, that's your number one love.
Yeah, and we're about to get MLS, which will force me to actually start liking soccer because I'll support anything Sacramento.
Well, how many Kings games have you been to this year?
So I've been to all of them, which have been just the preseason games.
Okay.
And then the one regular season game. This week we have New Orleans is coming on Thursday. So Boogie's return. In fact, so one of the things as a season ticket holder that the Sacramento, lets me do, or the Kings franchise lets me do, is I can sell back my seats to the Kings for credit to upgrade my seats or to buy additional seats to future games. And so there was a game in the future I knew I wasn't going to be able to make, and so I sold it back for credit. And in doing so, it showed me the value that they placed, depending on the opponent. And I was surprised to see like how much I could get back. For example, the Houston Rockets, the game that it was the Wizards. Excuse me, the Wizards is a future game that I'm not going to be able to make, and I got $57 per ticket. The value of our tickets is about $40 a pop, so it was a little bit above market value in that, or I guess that value. So $57, not too bad. Milwaukee is like $34 per ticket.
Well, you're taking a hit with that one.
You're taking a hit. That's the only one I found that you take a hit.
Yeah.
But what surprised me is the New Orleans, not a good team, 87 per ticket. So more than double. And that's how much people want to see Boogie Cousins back in Sacramento. Yeah. That surprised me. But even more than that, Lakers, 137 per ticket. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, and it makes me mad because I'm probably not going to go to that game. Honestly, I think I'm going to I'm going to get that credit for 137.
I wouldn't blame you. That's a ton of cash.
Well, yeah, it's not like the Lakers are good yet. I mean,
or are you kidding me? We just beat the powerhouse Suns.
Oh, did you win your game today?
I didn't. I haven't seen the score yet.
I think you're 1-2, just like Sacramento. And Skylar's team is 0-3. So
there's a real possibility the Mavs go 0 for the entire season.
Yeah, exactly. No, like at this point, I'm fully expecting them not to win a single game.
Have you seen the roster? I mean, it's hideous. It's really,
awful.
Really bad.
Well, I don't recognize half the names. First off,
who's this Nowitzki character?
Exactly. I was like, what are they getting those foreign prospects? No, I mean, we all knew that we were lottery bound teams. But just the hope was for the Lakers, Mavs, Kings, that we would see some promise, some foundation to build upon. I can tell you, after the Kings almost beat Houston in their home opener, while I don't believe in moral victories, like we should have won that game, I was still very encouraged at the energy, ball movement. We will lose a lot of games this season, but this is a foundation that I'm pumped to build on. And we'll get another lottery pick this year, and if as long as we don't blow it all up, we will. I think we'll be even better next year, and I'm excited about the path we're on. What have you thought seeing your Lakers?
Well, speaking of ball movement, Lonzo Ball in game two came extremely close to the triple double. And had he hit that triple double, it would have been he would have been the youngest player ever in NBA history to score a triple double.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
he's what, 19?
Well, he's got he has until November 15th. At that point, I think either MJ or LeBron had a triple double by that point, by that age. So he's got about a little less than a month to get it done. And I think it's just watching him play, he's gonna do it. He's absolutely gonna do it. So
he got relatively close today. So you guys lost to the Pelicans.
Ooh,
for the
rough one.
The bad team I just referred to. So you are 1-2, just like the Kings. But Ball today had 8 points. He was 3 for 13, so not great. But he had 8 points, 8 rebounds, and 13 assists.
I like that 13 though. That's a good
13
number.
is wow.
good
With 5
number.
Turnovers.
We don't need to talk about that. That stat
Well,
is
he's a
irrelevant.
rookie. So do you like what you've seen?
So far, the team is brutal, but there's some interesting pieces. I think Kuzma is good. He's a keeper. Of course, Lonzo's a keeper. Ingram, I guess, I don't know. He's still a project. I mean, he's so young, but man, he is weak. I mean,
Do you miss D'Angelo?
No, I never liked him, so I'm glad they got rid of him. So.
Oh wow! So you were lying the whole time when you were talking about.
Yeah.
I see.
It's gaslighting you guys.
No, I mean you got yeah. Plus you got to back up your guys.
Oh yeah,
As long
always.
as they're in the Laker, Laker gold. Is that what it is?
It's purple and gold. Yes, the regal colors of champions. 16-time NBA champions. Never forget.
I'm happy for you with the Dodgers. It's since you haven't been able to see your baseball team, make it even to the World Series.
No.
I think I'm really excited for you. Even though you've been able to see your basketball team do it a few times and your hockey team do it twice.
Twice in person. I got to see both of those.
In person.
Yeah.
And then and you've been able to see your city get 2 NFL franchises. 2 franchises that are clearly the people are super excited about.
Yeah, I mean, people talk about the birth of your child being your proudest moment. I think when LA got those 2 franchises, that was both my proudest moments right there.
Well, the Rams had such a successful season. I mean, it made sense to add another. It's like
the scary part is the Rams are actually good this year. So
I know
they're going to win the NFC West.
But will they sell out a game?
No. Have you ever been to the Coliseum?
That's where they're playing, right? Is
Yeah,
the Coliseum?
they play in the LA Coliseum.
I've been there.
Okay, it holds 110,000
They'll never
people.
sell that out.
No.
I mean, there's no other NFL stadium that's that big because that's a college football stadium.
Exactly. Well, it's Olympic Stadium. But yeah, there's I think Soldier Field, used to be the biggest one. Yeah. I don't know. But now it's from all I've heard, all accounts, the fan experience at the LA Coliseum is just horrid. So I won't be going to any Rams games.
So when is game 1 for the
Game
Dodgers?
1 is Tuesday.
Tuesday,
and
so you're not going to know if you're going till the day of.
No, probably tomorrow night if we buy tickets for game 1. It'll be tomorrow night. But so here's the interesting thing. The weather report says high of 100 degrees on Tuesday. So we're talking about high heat. So it could be high scoring affair and a lot of fatigue could be a factor. So keep an eye out for that.
All right. So Tuesday, I will be tuning in.
No, you won't, but I will be.
No, I won't. When I say tuning in, I mean like catching some of the updates via my Twitter feed as I refresh it.
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
You don't even have the score app, do you?
The MLB one?
No, the app is called The Score.
Oh, I have Sportacular.
Oh, okay, that one's pretty good. That one's all right.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. Well, what I'm going to be doing this week is pre-ordering myself the new iPhone, iPhone 10, or iPhone X, as anyone over the age of 45 calls it. You're an iPhone owner. Are you upgrading?
7? No, I will not be upgrading. I'm still paying this one off. I am not going to be
got
upgrading.
Does anything about the 10 excite you?
There is not a thing about it that interests me whatsoever.
Wow,
I mean,
that is remarkable.
if they brought back the headphone jack, I might be interested.
If I weren't upgrading, I would have that same attitude as well.
Yeah, there's just no point to it. I just
I have
don't.
to talk myself out of it,
Yeah.
you know,
So
because
which one?
truthfully,
So the X
I'm,
is the one with $1,000 price tag.
I don't know. Money doesn't matter. I mean, it's a new iPhone. I don't know.
What about
I'll see it.
the? I saw a commercial for the new watch. You getting the new Apple Watch?
Yeah, I already did. Yeah. Yeah, it's right here. If you want to see it, it's here, and you know it's the new one because it's got a red dot on the crown
Oh wow,
because it has LTE connectivity.
sweet.
Yeah, for a cool $10 a month that I'm not gonna pay for.
No, please don't.
So
That's terrible. So do you still have to have it you like tethered to your phone, or is that just the first generation?
no, so it is tethered to your phone
Okay,
unless you activate the LTE,
got
and
it.
then you can make calls and texts and do other stuff on it without the phone being around.
I see.
But yeah,
So what do you use it for?
I had the first generation one, and honestly, for me, the value is getting my like having access to email and messages instantly on my wrist and not having to take my phone out. And this is going to sound like the most first world thing in the world, and I'm just going to go. I want you to plow through this,
Yeah.
but not having to take my phone out as often is actually kind of nice. Being able to instantly react
Mm-hmm.
or respond without having to like because I'll open my phone and I'll respond, and then next thing I know, I find myself I'm like literally reading tweets. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Facebook. I'm Googling something. And I'm like, what am I doing? I opened my phone because I felt the vibration of a text message and I'm already distracted. So that, I mean, that's the accessibility to notifications is first and foremost. But there's actually a lot of and this sounds dumb, but it's true. The fitness stuff, like the health and fitness,
Do you use
it's
it?
telling me to stand up, my steps,
Oh,
the
okay.
calories I've lost in the days, that type of stuff that I try and track.
So it just nags you until you do something.
It's very naggy. It even tells me to breathe sometimes. It's really good at knowing when my heart rate goes up. Like, yeah, no, like throughout the Kings game, my wrist was just going nuts. It was like breathe,
That's so funny.
breathe. Yeah, yeah. It was like yeah.
So does that data get does that like get uploaded to some sort of Apple server where they're tracking you? Does the NSA track your heartbeats per minute?
Oh, undoubtedly, yeah. All of this data is going to be accessible to our government and probably more governments. And you know what? That's truthfully, Apple is, at least it appears, Apple, they do try and protect against. I mean, they had the San Bernardino case where they wanted them to like break into their locked iPhone and they
Yeah.
wouldn't do it. Now, I'm willing to realize that could have been a really great PR move for them. But I tend to believe Apple a little bit more in terms of them caring about privacy rather than, I mean, Google and Facebook and others, which
Or wide
I mean,
open?
every single thing that they know about me, they have given to other organizations.
Yeah,
and entities.
they sold it as ad stuff.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Oh yeah, they sure have. Oh yeah. But the thing is, this is the thing about the iPhone 10 that's so it's terrifying. They have had multiple issues with production at their Foxconn factories in China. There've been 2 or 3 like high-profile components that they've just not been able to make fast enough, and so the pre-order day, which is midnight, it's this Friday at midnight Pacific time. They will have 2 to 3 million units ready to ship for 50 plus countries. And I mean, not knowing what the usual numbers would be, 2 to 3 million might sound fine, but that is a tiny number compared to what Apple usually ships with their new iPhones, especially their flagship phone. It's going to be a bloodbath. Basically, November 3rd, which is the first day that they're supposed to ship, I've given up on the idea that I'll get it by then. I just want to make sure I get it before 2018. So I'm hoping.
How do you secure that? Like, do you stand in a line, or do you pay a homeless man to
No.
stand in line for you? What do you do?
This is the whole rigmarole, my friend. Is right around midnight. You can do it online, on a web browser or on the actual app. They have a mobile app. It's the Apple Store mobile app, and you can order any of their products through that. But right at midnight, well, and even honestly, like about an hour before midnight, they bring down the Apple Store to update it, so you can't even access it online. And then at midnight, the servers melt. and it's all you get is error signs when you try to go to the Apple website to the store. It's just like error. Their servers are completely toast, and you refresh. Like I've got a Chrome extension on my browser that auto refreshes every 2 seconds.
Wow.
And you just wait for you just hope the server gods pick you
Right.
as because certain regions or areas will randomly start to get access before you just don't know what's going to happen. The trick is the actual mobile app, which is, I don't know all the technical details, but I think that information is housed on a different server that recovers way before the website does. And most people are on the website. And so usually you can get access to the mobile app first. Like I've gone through, I have picked the exact iPhone I want, color, size, everything. I've favorited it. And so it's like ready. And so as soon as it comes back up, I can get through. I can order.
Wow.
But I still don't think I'm going to get it on the actual launch day, which is fine. I just want to make sure I get it.
So what if they have the color that you don't want? Like
I don't care about. I'll take either color.
You'll take the. Oh, there's only two colors.
A slight preference to the white. There's only white and black, or space gray.
What if they only had like a bright yellow, like canary yellow, or like a hot pink?
Yeah. Well, look, that's what happened. I literally have a rose gold iPhone. And do you think that's because I like this color? Because no, it's the only one they had.
Looks pretty good though.
That's it.
So what are you doing with that old phone?
I'm trading it back in and getting credit for it from Apple, which they give more than the carriers do, oddly enough. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna be doing with it. But here's the good news, Aaron. October 27th, which is that Thursday night, I'll be pre-ordering. There's a lot going on, and so if I don't get my iPhone, I don't have to worry because it's the same day that a new Super Mario game comes out for Nintendo Switch. Super Mario Odyssey. I kid you not. Really excited about that.
That's one where he's like, he comes to life or something. It's like.
Well, he has a hat that you can, the Mario hat he throws, and you could throw it on different objects or people, and you can play as that thing.
Okay.
I haven't looked a ton into it because I know I'm going to play it no matter what. So why have spoilers?
I saw there was some marketing material where Mario was shirtless and he had nipples. And
that's right. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Who knew? Italian plumbers. Not only that, though, on October 27th, two other significant things. One, the second season of Stranger Things drops. You watched season 1.
Oh, yeah.
You loved it.
Right away. I watched it first weekend.
So did I.
Yeah, and I watched it without knowing what it was, really. I just saw that it dropped, and I was like, oh, this looks interesting.
Yeah. So honestly, if I'm upset because I ended up getting an iPhone 10 that's not going to ship till May of next year, at least I have Stranger Things to watch. But third is a new Weezer album. And I'm a big Weezer head.
The biggest Weezer head.
Yeah, even though I just will admit fully that they are not producing good music anymore. And maybe haven't since 1996. But I will definitely.
Now, didn't you once tell me that you'll never get a tattoo, but you might get a Weezer tattoo? I mean, if you ever change.
Yeah, I'm not big into tattoos. It's not really totally my thing. Mm-hmm. If it were my thing and I were interested in getting one, I'd be getting Weezer. In fact, we're getting a comment right now from my friend Alec Nethercott, who knows exactly what tattoo I'd be getting. It's the Weezer symbol. He's got typed out there the W with the equal sign on either side. He also said David likes pink.
Well, that's true. He's 2 for 2. I distinctly remember some sort of story about you getting a Weezer like sunburn or something like that.
Oh man! Oh, you're gonna bring that up, aren't you? Wow, this is amazing. This is
where our true fact.
Me knowing you during my formative years, where I made decisions that
good decisions.
I'm not always.
No, I'll
decisions
say.
So I was going to a Weezer concert in the Bay Area, and I wanted to have the Weezer W on, tanned into my skin. I'd never been to a tanning salon. I've never gone tanning. Also, my skin doesn't tan. I burn really badly. Sunburn super bad. My little brother commenting here, sunburn. That's correct. And so my buddy and I, we we called around. We didn't know how it worked at a tanning salon. I literally had no idea that there was like a coffin, like, and I'm about 15, 16 years old at this time. Okay. I think 15. Anyway, we were calling places being like, what are your prices? And is this the type of thing I do naked, or do I bring swim trunks? And most of the people laughed because they didn't think we were serious, but we totally were. I really didn't know if I was supposed to do it in the nude. So anyway, my friend and I cut out Weezer symbols and this just out of paper. We bring tape with us, and he taped it on his back. I taped it on my stomach, and we told the girl at the front like what we were trying to do, and she's like, "Yeah, we really aren't supposed to let you go any longer than like 12 minutes or 13 minutes or whatever it was for our first time." But she's like, "I'll let you go in for 30." And we're like, "Awesome." And so we go in into a tanning bed. I was fumbling with the goggles, and I was trying to get, there's a little like radio in there so I could turn on my favorite FM station, which is 107.9 The End in Sacramento. And yeah, 30 minutes later I come out, and initially I don't look like anything. I just same color skin, nothing. It took about maybe 15 or 20 minutes before I looked like just a ripe red tomato. And I had this like glowing bright Weezer W on my stomach. So it worked. It absolutely worked.
So in essence, you got like a reverse brand is what you did.
Yeah, exactly. I branded my entire body red except a small piece in the shape of a W. Oh my gosh.
Really? How old are you when you did that?
I was 15. Yeah. I was like 15 years old.
That's brilliant. Good choices.
Most of my best decisions were made at that age. We've got some Fincher to talk about because we got to keep this pod a little tighter than our usual long pods, and so we will get into that. But there is a story. I'll maybe save it for another time. But speaking of Weezer and that album, I met Rivers Cuomo, the lead singer, on more than one occasion, and one of those times was with you in Los Angeles, in Malibu, right? Or no, Santa Monica. Yeah. That's where it was.
Anyway, I never go to Malibu. That story.
I don't know. I don't know anything about LA geography, obviously. But let's talk Fincher. Someone's asking us here if we've already spoken about Zodiac. That's Michael Bushio. No, because we haven't gotten into Fincher yet. So we're talking Fincher. Why?
Fincher is the executive producer behind a new Netflix series called Mindhunter. You actually turned me onto this series.
I did.
I hadn't heard anything about it. I think I saw it listed in the new releases on Netflix. But you had glowing praise for it.
I did.
Effusive, glowing praise for it. And you were compelling us to watch all the episodes as quickly as possible so you could discuss without spoiler warnings. And I'll just say I was blown away by it. It's a good choice. It's up there with my favorite Netflix original series.
Yeah.
I watched the whole thing over the course of a week or two, and it's incredibly compelling. It's hard to watch at times, but it's really good.
Yeah, not for the faint of heart.
No,
so
not at all.
That wants to know, content wise, it's not for the faint of heart. It's a show about how the FBI's behavioral sciences unit in the 1970s came up with criminal profiling. The way they did that was through interviewing, serial killers that were in prison, either on death row or life in prison, and that leads to conversations that can be pretty difficult to listen to. But the story around what's going on, even though the main characters we're following are fictional, the people they're interviewing are not. They're representing real life serial killers. But the show is outstanding, and I love Fincher. There's 10 episodes in this series, and he actually directed the first two and the last two. But the show reminded me of my favorite piece of Fincher work. If I want to get right out there and say it,
Alien 3.
Yes, Alien 3 with Sigourney Weaver, easily his first and best work. No, it reminded me the most of Zodiac, which is in my opinion, his greatest film, his finest achievement. And we'll get talking about Zodiac and more about Mindhunter.
I know,
but
I know that you love Zodiac, but would you say that Zodiac is better than Summer of Sam? Because that's my favorite serial killer movie.
It's your favorite Fincher?
Well, it's Spike Lee, but yeah, it's one
I
and
was gonna
two
say
for
that's-
me. 1 and 2.
So, I mean, already Michael Bushia is backing me up here. Zodiac's a great film.
It is a great film.
It has gotten better with time. And I totally agree with that. And we'll get to Zodiac here in just a sec, but I wanted to just start from the top. My love affair with Fincher's films and his directing style started, much earlier with actually in 1995 is when he released his film Seven. The interesting thing about Fincher is that his background was really unique. He worked for ILM, Industrial Light and Magic, in the Bay Area, and initially as a photographer and a camera assistant, and eventually worked his way into commercials and music videos. And that's where he really got his start, and how he got noticed was he was making some of the best music videos for huge bands, and that led to his first full feature gig, which other than a documentary on Rick Springfield, the first full narrative film, full featured, what am I trying to say? Full length, there you go. Alien 3, which anyone who follows the Alien franchise knows that's the worst film in the franchise. So not a great start. But what's funny is
Alien versus Predator, I would say, is actually worse.
I don't know if it is, though. I'm be honest with you. It's a bad film, but I don't know if it's worse. But Fincher agrees. Fincher, he says this in 2009 with an interview with The Guardian. He says that regarding Alien 3, no one hated it more than me. To this day, no one hates it more than me. Talking about that film. So apparently there were famous creative struggles, and as a young director, you don't have a lot of leverage. And so not a great start to his career. And he kind of retreated back to music videos and commercials till he finally came back again in 95 with Seven. Seven to me was like, that opened my eyes to the power of the kind of dark, and it's a dark film, but like dark cinema. Was Seven the first thing you had seen of his?
Look, thinking back, I think so. It's it's one of those movies that sticks with you, and you can, like you said, it's really dark and it's disturbing, but man, it's good. It's such an interesting story, and I think there's definitely parallels between Seven and this series Mindhunter. You can tell that he has a real interest in these types of methodical serial killer types, because not only did he do Seven, but he did Zodiac, like you said, and even Gone Girl, I think, has some of the same tones.
Oh, sure. The psychopath, like kind of motivations and why do you think Fincher? Why is Fincher obsessed with serial killers, and why are we obsessed with content then?
That was gonna be my statement. It's like, I don't think it's just Fincher. I think everybody's obsessed with serial killers right now.
True.
Like, it's the number one genre in podcasting is serial killers.
Yep.
And I think that it's forever they've been best-selling books about all these serial killers.
Oh, yeah.
So I think it's just something about it that just fascinates us.
There's like a bloodlust there. There's a little bit of that, but I wonder, is it because serial killers are doing something, an act that is so difficult for us to comprehend, and we want to just get some sort of key insight into the motivation of what would bring someone to do something so heinous?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what it is. And as you go through Mindhunter, you go through the conversations with Edmund Kemper and Richard Speck and those characters. And at least the way they're portrayed in the series is they're not really all that different from you or I. It's just they made some different choices. And of course, they had different upbringings and they had different things that motivate them. But I think that's the case with a lot of these serial killers. They weren't necessarily animals or wild psychopaths. A lot of them were just people that had something go wrong or had some sort of misfire in their brain that made them have no empathy or want this feeling that they can only get through murder, basically. Yeah. So, and I think that's one of the really interesting takeaways is these are human beings at the end of the day that are in these jail cells for these cruel and inhuman crimes. And so Mindhunter, I kind of was concerned that they would try to humanize these people. It seems to be like this thing where we fetishize these serial killers. Yeah. And I was a little bit concerned that they would do that. And
me too.
And my personal feeling was they did not. They showed them for flawed characters they really are, with some real darkness, and
Yeah.
I appreciated that.
No, I did too, because they could have done this over the top, portrayal of a serial killer. Like they could have had these actors do a physical performance that made them seem like way over the top, like these crazy,
Like a
these
Hannibal
crazy
Lecter.
serial killers. Yeah,
Hannibal
exactly.
Lecter in Silence of the Lambs is what I was thinking. It's not like
Exactly.
that at all.
No, no, it's not. And they don't humanize them to the point that you in any way really relate or feel for them. But what they do is they certainly portray them as everyday normal people, except they speak so plainly about their crimes and why in a way that's disarming, because at first you're like, oh, it just seems like a normal person kind of talking, and then they start talking about what they did, and and you could see, at least in these performances, in their eyes, there's no like real remorse or thought or contemplative, like, this is what I've done. I've ended these lives for reasons that are like seem arbitrary. But seeing normal human beings speak so plainly about those crimes is what made it so terrifying.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, and I think that's what really is super effective in the early episodes with the Kemper interviews. The way that they made that character so articulate and cold, like you said, it's really interesting, fascinating to watch play out on the screen.
In that real life serial killer, Ed Kemper's still alive in Vacaville, California, which is maybe a good hour drive, 45 minutes maybe from where I live.
Oh yeah,
And
I mean, you could go
a good
visit
place.
him tomorrow if you want.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, why don't we get him on the pod? Why don't we get Ed Kemper, famous? What was his title? Was he the co-ed serial killer?
He was co-ed killer.
Yeah, that's right,
Killer.
co-ed killer.
And I can think of one reason, and it shows up in the last episode of season 1.
Oh yes, that's right. Yes. No
So
spoilers.
stay tuned. No spoilers though.
No spoilers. So, so just running quickly through his filmography. Those of you not super familiar with Fincher's work, like I said, he is one of my favorite directors. He is on my Mount Rushmore of working directors. But he did Seven with Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman. He did The Game, which is admittedly, I think, the one film I have not seen.
You haven't seen The Game?
That's the only one I haven't seen on his.
You have to watch The Game. It is incredible. It's really, really interesting.
Okay. That was one of the more middling reviews and box office returns, kind of
Don't
like not
believe any
bombed,
of the
but
reviews.
like it wasn't.
Don't believe the reviews. It's really
Okay.
good. Very entertaining.
I'll take
movie.
a look.
Yeah.
Because he had what for me was a seminal high school film. In 1999 was Fight Club. We rewatched that film all the time, and while I actually don't think I think as time has gone on and I revisit it, the last act is a little messy, and maybe that's a result more of Chuck. Was it Palahniuk?
Palahniuk. Yeah.
Is maybe the source material more than Fincher.
It totally is.
But like the first part, I mean, it was like the movie that was like, you're so clever, if you get Fight Club and if you understand the message, it was like the pseudo intellectual film, but still was a major. It was an important film. It was like the movie that's like, oh, you like Fight Club? Okay, all right, that's a cool person. Like, that's someone that I can relate with because they also like Fight Club. It was like that type of movie, which wasn't theatrically, it was not a success. Critically, it was, it got 79% in Rotten Tomatoes. Like, okay. But it was later, probably 5 years later before it really hit kind of a cult status, which it did. So after that, one of his lesser films in Panic Room in 2002.
Not a huge fan of Panic Room personally.
No, it's not great. And then my favorite film of his, 2007, Zodiac. 89% in Rotten Tomatoes. It garnered him, not that this matters, 0 Academy Award nominations for that film. 0. Okay. I only bring that up because 1 year later, he releases The Curious Case of Benjamin Button, which had 13 nominations, including his first nomination for Best Director. One of those movies is good and one of those is not.
I've only seen Benjamin Button one time, and I barely made it through the one viewing.
It is painful. Not that it's like terribly acted or scripted. It's just boring, utterly boring. The only value, honestly, is they really had some interesting effects in making Brad Pitt look young, like shockingly good,
Right.
Cutting edge effects. But as a narrative, it was a worse version of Forrest Gump. The guy aging backwards, which I guess
Right.
Forrest was kind of doing that same thing. But
Mentally, he stayed the same through the entire movie.
Why was this the Academy just like being like, oh, we kind of screwed up by not recognizing Zodiac and some of the other ones, so let's just load this up with 13 nominations, or maybe it was just a weak year. That movie should not have been nominated 13 times.
There's no way. I don't even know what came out that year, but that doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever.
No. But next is his most critically lauded film, a film that a lot of people I talk to say they believe is the definitive best Fincher film, and that's The Social Network. 96% Rotten Tomatoes, and it was nominated for Best Picture. He was nominated for Best Director. Do you like The Social Network?
Social Network is great. That's a movie that grew on me.
It's really good.
Didn't love it the first time, but I've seen it 100 times since then, and I think it gets better every time.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah, he did a great job with that.
And then this one had pretty good critic reviews. This was a year later after Social Network. The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, 86% Rotten Tomatoes. I wasn't crazy about this film.
Have you seen the originals?
No, but that's what
they're really good. I know. The original movie is really good.
Where was it? Was it like a Swedish?
Yeah, it's a Swedish series of movies. The books are pretty good too, but the original movie is actually really well done. The Fincher one's okay. It's not bad. It's just okay.
Yeah. And his most recent film was in 2014, which, by the way, reminds me, it's amazing that the guy hasn't directed a film since 2014.
I know. Can you believe it?
And also the fact that his next project's the sequel to World War Z. I don't understand that. World War Z was a fine film. It was okay, but Fincher, at that talent, shouldn't be making sequels to Brad Pitt zombie movies, I don't think. But anyway, I realized that he's also busy producing and House of Cards, obviously Mindhunter. He did more than just produce. He directed 4 of the 10 episodes. But Gone Girl, I've come to this point with Gone Girl now 3 years later that I feel like this is an underrated movie.
Yeah, I agree. It's a really good movie. It's
87% on Rotten Tomatoes, so it's pretty well received.
It had some decent reviews. I was very fortunate. One of my friends actually worked on the movie, doing some digital effects, and he got an invite to a screening at the Directors Guild hosted by David Fincher. So I got to watch it with him in the audience. It was pretty cool.
You watched it with Fincher in the audience?
Fincher did a little introduction. Yep.
Hashtag LA Life.
I was like, he came up and said like 5 words and then sat down. So I was like, oh, hey, that's David Fincher.
You didn't do a Q&A? You didn't get to ask him how he coaxed a good performance out of Tyler Perry and Neil Patrick Harris?
It's magic. That's the only way. It's the only explanation. But no, Gone Girl, I was pleasantly surprised with that movie. There's a twist in it, but beyond that, it's just really well made. You had some really good performances, decent writing, and the direction, of course, is top notch as always. So
totally is.
It's a fun little movie, I think.
Yeah, Rosamund Pike, who was nominated for an Academy Award. I think it was the only nomination it had.
Rightfully so.
She was awesome.
Yeah,
very, very good. Anyways, that's a quick run through there. We wanted to do that to give appreciation to Fincher and also to push people towards watching Mindhunter on Netflix. Again, not for the faint of heart. But if you enjoy Netflix shows and you want something interesting, cerebral, gritty, also thrilling, check it out.
Yeah,
it's a slow burn.
It is a slow burn, but it's totally worth the time and effort. If you need something to hold you over until Stranger Things, I would say check out Mindhunter for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, man. Any other Fincher thoughts?
No, I just I love everything he does, so I can't wait to see World War Z 2. So,
dude, World War Z 2 is going to be...
Or is it WW2Z? Is that what we're calling it?
I don't know. I
2Z, Too Furious?
Much like he had 3 HBO projects that were going simultaneously. He had a contract with them. HBO dropped all 3 of those projects.
Wow.
And he moved on then to Mindhunter with Netflix.
Yeah.
Which was a waste of time in a director's prime, by the way. I'm kind of upset at HBO for that.
Oh, yeah.
There are major creative differences and apparently budgeting differences. The difference of $9 million is what Fincher said. They were going to give him $91 million and he wanted $100 to make for the production budget. Yeah, something like that. Anyway, my point is I hope, much like the HBO thing, I hope World War Z 2, WW2Z, I hope that gets dropped and maybe he realizes, what am I doing? I'm one of the best directors on this planet right now, and I shouldn't be making a sequel to a zombie film.
I know. He really should be making a sequel to a Star Wars film, though.
Dude, it breaks my heart seeing the headlines recently, how he talked openly about having a meeting with Kathleen Kennedy to direct. Because to me, he would make a heck of especially a spin-off,
How
like
okay, so
just a Fincher Star Wars film.
it's
Do you
right.
know how excited that makes me?
I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it. But how tonally does that work? It does. I don't think it works.
No, it does because as long as it's not one of the saga films, an episode 9, 10, 11. If he does these little that was the idea in theory when Disney purchased Lucasfilm, was that they would have the saga films that tonally are going to be fairly consistent with a little variation, but these one-off films would allow directors to have a singular vision to do something a little bit different for one film, just these standalones. And I think it could work.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't put anything past him. He's super talented, obviously. So
Well, he said he wasn't gonna. He turned it down. Apparently, I heard in some reports it said he even had an offer, but he turned it down because of the pressure. Even though he says that he admitted he's a big Star Wars fan, but the pressure of doing it. And I kind of get like, I love Star Wars. Obviously, directing a Star Wars film was like a dream of mine, but I could also understand the component of like not wanting to see how the sausage gets made. Kind of staying a fan.
So the quote that I saw, he literally attributed I think he said the fatigue of trying to deal with Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher is one of the reasons he didn't want to do it.
And he said he's saying that about Carrie posthumously.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's your role as a director, is to try and reel those people in, and you cannot do it to people like Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher. So
yeah,
I don't blame him.
Well, I appreciate Fincher's candor.
Yeah, seems like a good dude.
Yeah, no, he doesn't give very many interviews, but recently, because of Mindhunter, he's been on doing the press junket, and there's been some pretty good quotes. But anyway, Fincher, one of the great working directors right now. Check out his filmography, see any of those films that we talked about, and check out Mindhunter. Anything else, Aaron?
No, that'll do it.
Go Dodgers.
Go Dodgers. We're winning games 1 and game 2.
All right. Well, our little sign off, as we say, hold on to your butts. All right. Good night.
All right.